Hi everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse. I'm in a good mood because we're going to talk about DC Comics, and there's a big DC Comics week. I'm Peter, by the way, and Matt's here.
What's up?
Connor's here too.
Hey everyone.
There'll be a special edition of Connor's Corner at the end of the show, where Connor talks about the book that only he read this week. But we've got lots of books to talk about, obviously. This week we are going to be discussing, long list this time, so bear with me, Supergirl Rebirth issue 1, Batman issue 5, Superman issue 5, Justice League issue 3, Nightwing issue 3, Batgirl and the Birds of Prey issue 1, Green Arrow issue 5, Green Lanterns issue 5, Aquaman issue 5, Suicide Squad issue 1, and then Connor will be talking about Harley Quinn issue 2. One breath.
God damn it, that's 11 books.
I want points.
Yeah.
I want points for that one breath run. So that's what's coming up on today's show. There will be timestamps as always in the description. You can click on those to jump around. Before we get to that though, the solicits are coming on Monday, right? So for next week's episode we'll have the full solicits and we'll talk about them like we normally do. But as they always do, they like to tease us with a few early ones just on their own. There's maybe 6, 7 of them out. I'm only going to bring up 3 of them here. I'm just going to leave the other ones till the full solicits because some of them are just, it's part 4 of this arc or it's part 5 of this arc. Not really a whole lot to say, especially since I tend to avoid reading the descriptions of stuff that's the middle of an arc just for spoilers avoidance. But the interesting ones, the 2 main interesting ones are the fact that November is going to have a 5th Wednesday. And thank fuck, November is going to have some annuals to fill that 5th Wednesday, so we're going to have books to talk about that week. That's nice. That's really nice. So there might be more in the full solicits, but so far we have Batman Batman Annual issue 1, which is going to be an anthology style. It's called Silent Night, and it's going to be set during winter and it's a snowfall during Gotham. And it's got stories by Tom King, Scott Snyder, Paul Dini, Steve Orlando, and Scott Wilson.
I'm so down.
It's a pretty good list of names. Let's not pretend it isn't. It's a really good list of names.
Yeah.
Got the current Batman writer, the last Batman writer. You get Paul Dini, who has a legacy with the character, and Steve Orlando, who is sort of newer but up and coming and doing all that good stuff. So it's
He's edging in on the Bat stuff, isn't he?
he's doing the Monster
Men. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is fine. I mean, maybe they're setting him up to, because he's only got the 1 monthly book right now. But maybe the reason why he has the 1 monthly book rather than having a double book is that he's doing all these extra little crossover things, and
Yeah, he's like the extra guy for the Bat books.
Yeah. So that's cool. And the other one we're getting is Superman Annual Issue 1, which is the regular team of Tomasi and Gleason. Jorge Jimenez is going to be doing the art. And it's not going to be an anthology, it's going to be one story. And here's I'll just read the description for this one, cause since it is just the one story. Earth to ashes, ashes to ashes. Mr. Oz told Superman that not what he thought he was. Now Swamp Thing comes hunting for the Man of Steel to discover what strange connection the new Superman has to the planet. But their contact is something neither is prepared for, leaving Kal-El battling the Earth Elemental who wants to bury him. So we've got a Superman versus Swamp Thing issue, but it's going to play into the whole he's different, Mr. Oz, mystery stuff. That sounds like a fun story.
Burn them. That's it. Heat vision.
Jeez, that got dark.
That's it.
So, but Matt's going for the quick kill.
Yo, if I had heat vision, there'd be less people in this world.
No shit.
Like, that's it.
Oh dear. Yeah, so both of those are out in the 5th week in November. They're both listed as 48 pages for $4.99.
Standard.
Yeah, that's kind of normal. That's what you expect from an annual. And they both sound interesting and worth reading. I'm wondering if we'll also get Green Arrow and Green Lanterns annuals, because those were the 4 books that all came in the first week of Rebirth.
Yeah.
So I would guess that those 2 might get annuals as well, but it's just a hunch.
I don't know. Batman and Superman seem obvious ones to give it to first,
But
whereas the others not as much.
I think there'll be at least one more though. I don't think.
I think there'll be a couple more, but I'm not sure it'll be those ones that you mentioned.
If you were going to guess, what the first other annuals may be.
Maybe Nightwing, Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Jim Lee's been on the internet lately saying how, as a co-publisher, he envisions Harley as the fourth pillar.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine that.
Yeah, she does have a special like all the time at any event.
Yeah, she appeals to a very particular audience who will always buy something with the name Harley Quinn on it.
Yep.
Connor being one of those people.
Hey, when the quality is good, I will buy it, and that is now.
You're almost as bad as our friend James, who is obsessed in a way that no regular human being should be obsessed with a fictional character. But
I'm not sure I'm quite as bad as James.
Nah.
No one's as bad as James. Sometimes I feel like James has a teenage girl operating his brain. So
yeah, it's like Inside Out. There's like a team of teenage girls inside there. It's like 4 teenage girls, and then this one guy who's just really into neon, like is the 5th person.
I was just gonna say, and there's nothing wrong. We're not saying this is.
Oh no,
anything
we're
wrong
not.
With them. I'm just saying his taste in movies, TV, and music sometimes skews to that of my nieces. In a couple of years. So, hey, he likes it. He's happy. That's cool. Also, big fan of Batman 66. So
yes.
He's odd.
Actually, I wasn't going to bring that up as part of the news, but they did announce that new animated movie that's got Adam West and what's his face who did Robin and Julie
Ward.
Yeah, there you go.
It's going to be so good.
It's not for me. I'll just say that. Although the one thing I will say is I did watch the trailer, if you can call it that, because it's kind of a separate thing just to promote it. I do think Adam West sounds far too old to be doing this now.
Yeah.
Old
He sounded old for a while. I mean, you hear him on Family Guy anytime recently.
He doesn't sound like he's acting though. He sounds like a delusional old man reading lines off a bit of paper.
He has them for a while, but
how is that far from the truth?
It's a good point.
I know. I love him off Family Guy's Mayor Adam West, and that makes me laugh every time because he's so game for that type of stuff, and it's no surprise that he's coming back.
He has fun with it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's all for coming in and doing stuff like this. But the one last book that I wanted to mention, actually, just out of these early solicits, was Superman issue 10, because it is the start of a new arc. So I thought it was worth pointing out. And I believe this is the reason why we're not getting the Super Sons until next year. Because the arc starting in Superman, starting with issue 10, is a Superman and John team up with Batman and Damian story. So I presume that this will lead in to Super Sons come like maybe February.
I'm so excited.
So, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's got a really nice cover with the father-son staring each other down.
You know how Tomasi and Gleason were the ones that did Batman and Robin and did all the stuff with Damian? Do you think he could be doing Super Sons as like a pair book?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's always worked on 2 books, because even when he was doing Batman and Robin, he was doing Green Lantern Corps. So
and then he moved on to Superman, Wonder Woman.
But has he ever done 3 at the same time? Because remember, Superman's 2 a month, so...
Yeah, but I'm sure he's writing those out like normal. You know what I mean? Like, it's more on the art that the double shipping bears the burden of.
Yeah.
So.
But to me, this just kind of like makes sense that that's where this is going to head to. This will probably be the first time that Damian and John meet each other, and it'll set up the coming series. So that's cool. And it'll make everything feel like connected and part of a universe again if it actually is set up in one of these books beforehand.
And by the time that comes out, the actual series might be solicited.
That's true.
Yeah.
In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they happen to time it so the solicits for the first issue are around the same time as this coming out.
I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
It would make some sense. So yeah, the arc is called In the Name of the Father. So there you go. You can speculate all you want. So that's starting issue 10, which is the start of that's the first issue in November. So Cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right, so that'll take us on to some books. So first up, we always start with the new books of the week, and we have one new book this week, and that is Supergirl Rebirth, issue 1, by Steve Orlando and art by Emanuela Lupacchino. So, Kryptonian werewolf.
Hell yeah!
You just know this was like made for Matt.
Yep, it was.
Lar-On.
Yep.
Lar-On is a werewolf on Krypton. Something to do with red kryptonite is the cause of it, and he's the thing for her to fight in this issue. I wouldn't say he's the villain.
He's a traditional werewolf in fiction where he's not a bad guy, but when he turns into the creature, he loses all sense of humanity. So you know,
even
she needs something to punch.
He looks at the moonlight, and he's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, he realizes...
I forget what the line was, but he says, like, Planet Light. The thing that changes me.
It is something weird, isn't it?
Yeah, and it gave me a crack up.
No,
it set the tone.
It says, "Fools, world light triggers my sickness."
World light, yeah.
Now, let's get to the meat of it, though, and that's, obviously, we were all looking forward to Supergirl, and I am happy to say that I really enjoyed this first issue. Amazingly, I would never have said this, like, 2 weeks ago, but I might have preferred Superwoman, but that's not because this was bad, it was just because Superwoman was, you know, surprisingly excellent.
Superwoman, it packed a massive punch that we weren't expecting, so...
But the first thing I'd say about this, though, is I think the tone is down. Like, I think he's nailed the tone what this should be. It's, I mean, admittedly, I don't know if I would have made the choice to age Kara at 16. Like, I mean, I know technically she probably was that in New 52, but I mean, we can fudge that if we want to. Let's not be committed to that.
They're just putting her at high school age so you can get the high school drama.
Yeah.
I think it's because they want to differentiate Supergirl and Superwoman a bit, so have a bit of an age gap.
You could have thrown her in college. I mean, it didn't have to be high school, but whatever. It's a small thing. They're matching the tone of the show, and unlike when Green Arrow tried this, you know, after Lemire's run, this felt natural.
Do you know what the difference is, though? The tone of the show of Supergirl is what Supergirl should be.
Right.
The tone of the show of Arrow is not what Green Arrow should be.
No, the tone of the show of Arrow is we want to be Batman, but we are failing miserably at being Batman.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, you know.
But I'm just talking about introducing elements of the show. Like, they forced in Felicity, and they forced it to go darker. And, I mean, I quit after 2 issues just because it was terrible.
Yeah,
this, though, the DEO and the handler, it's not quite her sister, but there's some similarities there. And then her parents, too, borrowing the names from the show.
Yeah, I did see an interview with Orlando where he was asked why he borrowed so much from the show, and he basically just said, because the show got it right, it's what Supergirl is, so why not?
Yeah, I think the interest of the Danver parents. They didn't. Did they mention Alex? I don't think they did. No, so there might not be an Alex in this, which I'm kind of fine with because Alex did. It's funny because I've been rewatching the Flash and Supergirl leading up to the new seasons, and I just hit Flash season 2 Supergirl. So I'm just sort of alternating between the two, like the episode by episode. And I remembered, like, when the show started, that Alex was easily my least favourite part. And she got better as the season went on, but now that I went back and I just watched the first episode again last night, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember why I disliked her. Like, she's just really, like, whiny and stuff. So I don't know if maybe they'll bring her in later. But, the Danvers being there's fine. They've got Director Chase, you know, the head of the DEO, and they help Supergirl, like, get better because she's, like, suffering from, you know, power loss and similar stuff that New 52 Superman had. So they fly her into the sun so that the sun will just reignite all her powers.
That's right.
Solid plan.
And if I have one complaint about this show, and it is literally the only complaint I could have, is that I do feel that aspect of it's maybe a little bit just kind of rushed. Like, it's just...
Well,
I could argue that a lot of this is rushed just as to get it set up, get the status quo ready for the actual number one.
Because all we had seen up to this point after the Citadel arc was her, like, in that big Superman crossover before Rebirth.
Yeah, Last Days of Superman.
Yeah, and that was just very, again, that was kind of haphazard and messy. Had there been like a miniseries or something to introduce her power loss, I think this would have worked better. But they're dropping it on you. Her powers are flickering in and out, and now they're gonna launch her into the sun.
The thing is, though, is that Orlando clearly wanted to just fix it as quickly as possible, so that we could get past it and start telling Supergirl stories.
Yeah, he clearly wanted, once we hit the actual number one, let's just go with what this wants to be. Forget getting everything back to how it should be.
This issue was about, like, it was like a mission state, it was like a proof of concept. Here's what the tone's going to be, here's how the character's going to feel. But a lot of the plot was, let's like fix the shite that was around that we didn't want to keep around. So, you know, and I think it does it fairly well. So, I really liked when Chase is explaining, right, you're going to have your parents, you know, in quotations, are your handlers, and you're going to actually experience being a human, because that's important. You have to do that so you fit in and all that. So you're going to go to high school, but when shit goes down, it's time for a job for Supergirl. And I really like that page, and she likes flying as it says that. And it was just, it felt fun, but it felt like it had a heart. I liked that she didn't want to just give up on the werewolf. She was like, no, we're going to try and help him. We're going to try and rehabilitate.
Well, it should be said, too, that her dad is the one that locked him in the Phantom Zone until they could find a cure.
Yeah, Zor-El, yeah.
Yeah, Zor-El, and then they tease him at the end, which... This is where it gets a little murky, because they've already used the Cyborg Superman Zor-El thing, which I always thought was weird.
Yeah, she never... I actually went back and read that arc from New 52.
Oh, you did?
Because I wanted to be aware of just, what had happened, if any of it was relevant. She never found out that...
that's her dad?
That's her dad. We did as a reader, but she never found out.
Right.
So I don't think it'll actually be a big deal if you didn't read that, because she doesn't know. So you'll just be in her shoes.
That's fine then.
That's good then. I just thought that always was such a weird thing to make Zor-El the whole Cyborg Superman.
I think it'll be good here. I think you'll explore the dynamics of that and her father being... But the weird thing is, the Cyborg Superman didn't know that he was her father either. He
finds out towards the end, doesn't he?
He finds out towards the end because he basically steals her life force to become human again, and he gets all his memories back, and then he reverses it once he realizes who he is, because he doesn't want his daughter to die.
Well, it wasn't as terrible as the covers made it look. That's good to know.
Honestly, the writing wasn't amazing, but the ideas weren't as terrible as the Instant Life.
It was decent.
Yeah, it was New 52 writing, basically.
Yeah,
with some decent ideas.
I'm just happy to have a Supergirl back, because New 52 Supergirl wasn't terrible when it started. Like, it was a fun use of the character. And you got the Silver Banshee stuff in there. And they were working.
I am so glad we're back to a classic looking outfit. Like,
I was just going to say, that splash page where she comes out in it. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's like, thank fuck. I mean, it's not... I didn't even hate the other outfit. Like, that other outfit would be fine on a new character. Like, if you get brought up a new...
Well, it's very Power Girl looking without the window, Like, it's a bikini, like a single... What's it? A one piece. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
But now here it looks like Supergirl, and, skirt, no skirt. If they want to give her pants, cool. But, like, this looks like a super character's costume.
Yeah. So. No, I'm fully in the skirt camp. I feel like it just... I don't know, something about it doesn't look like Supergirl if it's not a red skirt.
Huh?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's very much like the show. They've kept this similar kind of S design. I like the idea that Zor-El's S was slightly different because it's a different branch of the family. Like, it's very similar, but there's some slight differences. Maybe because when, like, he marries whoever Laura's mother's is, I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Lara?
Allura.
Laura.
Allura,
there you go, thank you. Like, maybe when Zor-El marries her, like, her family's, like, style integrates with the L one. Like, every time someone gets married, it alters a little bit based on who they've married. And that's why Zor-El and Jor-El's symbols are slightly different, but similar. I don't know, I'm just theorizing.
It really doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't, but
they're the L's of Argo City, and they were, I don't know what city Jor-El and Lara were in, but they were the L's there, so it helps to be distinct.
Yeah. So no, I thought it was fun. I thought with Tom was down, art was pretty good. I know it's a different artist on the main book when we get going, but art was fine here. So
yeah, it's you know how you said you preferred Superwoman. I'd agree on the first issue, but I feel like this is going to be more for me as the series as a whole. But this issue in particular was just, let's get everything set up.
No, I might agree as well. Like I might prefer this series as a whole once it gets going as well. But honestly, they both seem to be in really good places, and I think it's nice that they're distinct. It's nice that they're both servicing two different characters who have been kind of, if not mistreated, just kind of ignored for a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's
especially
good to have
Kara, given that she was getting a show and had no comic.
Yeah, that was really stupid.
Again, that's the New 52, just not knowing what's going on. Like, it's very frustrating.
Yeah. But Kryptonian werewolves, people, and Supergirl's back in 3 weeks. Do you know, I would really like it, right? If they kept this see for the ones that aren't monthly, right? Not twice a month, they're just once per month. I would love, I know I said that in a really weird way, but you know, the ones that aren't double shipping, the ones that are monthly, it'd be really cool if they kept this idea up of them being every 3 weeks, so that every 4 months they would have 2 in 1 month because they'd be at the start and the end of the month. Like they have
but I feel like people would complain if they solicited 2.
Fatigue.
Yeah.
But
it feels so far away, doesn't it? When
I'm just saying,
when you've got everything else.
Yeah, 3 weeks is better than 4 weeks. Is all I'm saying. Like I would just, it'd be.
With the amount of comics I'm reading right now, I'm fine with monthly books.
I don't know. It depends which ones. This is one I'd have preferred twice.
The 2 read stack, because I read DC first, is getting unmanageable. So I am very, very okay with monthly.
First world problems over here. The violin's playing for you, Matt.
I'm just saying.
Alright, that's Supergirl Rebirth issue 1. We're all quite happy with it. That'll take us on to Batman issue 5. Tom King, David Finch, who have been the creative team in the whole arc. David Finch is finally getting a break for a few issues.
Shout out to David Finch for going the entire arc without a break. Like, not many have done that.
I feel like they planned this really well because they knew it was 5 issues. They knew the next issue was like an epilogue, and then we're going to have like a crossover. So I feel like they planned this very well, where he made a point of getting his 5 issues for the whole arc done, so that the next guy could have his. Because who's the other main artist on this book again?
Yannon.
Yeah, when he comes back, like he's got not only this whole 5 issue arc to get his issues for the next arc ready, he's also got the crossover.
Yep.
Plus the epilogue issue. So he's had, what's that, 5, 6, 7, 8 issues. By the time his arc starts, there'll have been 8 issues of him with all that time to have his 5 or 6 issue arc done. So, they've planned this out fairly well, I think. In terms of the art. So, but this is quite notable because this, along with possibly Green Arrow this week, which we'll talk to when we get to it, is the first arc that's finished in Rebirth out of these ongoing books. So, Batman issue 5 is the end of I Am Gotham, and they finally had Batman say it, but it didn't make me cringe. It was actually a really cool moment. So you know what? Props to you, Mr. King. Props to you. Before we get to all the main stuff, let's just talk about how funny the opening few pages were with Alfred. So good.
Yeah. The accelerating miles per hour as he's going through and getting closer to Gotham.
It's one of those things where you say, Alfred puts on the Batsuit and charges the Batmobile at Gotham. It sounds stupid and ridiculous, but it works.
Honestly, while I was on the Batmobile, I was still thinking it was going to be stupid. But then he stepped out of the Batmobile, put his hands in his hips and went, "Relax, Gotham, the Dark Knight has returned." I'm like, okay, right, I'm in.
Yep. Why do you have a mustache? That was great.
Oh god, no, it was really fun. And then obviously the moment where he's like, where Bruce over the mic's like, "All right, I'm here, Alfred. It's fine." He's like, "Oh, thank God," and then he just runs away.
Yeah.
Oh, great. But no, so they have a bit of a fight. Batman, after Alfred already threw the car at him, Batman flies the plane into him, realizes that this ain't working out too well, and he admits that he needs help, and he gets Alfred to call in the Justice League, which I'm sure Matt appreciated.
Yes.
Yeah. He realised, I can't deal with this problem. This is...
Well, that's kind of the idea behind this whole arc, isn't it? That's why he let Gotham and Gotham Girl in the first place, because he's like, there are problems I can't deal with.
Yeah.
Right, and a superhuman that's been afflicted with rage by Psycho Pirate, which I'm just gonna give credit to King for coming up with such a comic book idea. When we've had Snyder, who's done more crime-driven stuff with Batman, this felt more like a superhero.
Yeah, it definitely
type deal.
does.
And I like that because Psycho Pirate is such an odd character. It plays with emotions and whatnot. Like,
but he's so dangerous because of that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He's so inherently goofy at the same time.
Yep. And so I just like that little bridge that they put in there, and then the Justice League showing up, and it added that sense of continuity because it's the Justice League from the main comic.
Yeah, it's the exact
where
same
you have
roster.
the 2 Green Lanterns and all of them. So, but no, yeah, my main problem with this one was towards the end, where I have no idea what's going on, and I read the end section 2 or 3 times.
See, this is the end bit is where I got excited about the book going forward.
Okay. So, when you guys want to set me straight?
Well, let's talk about what it actually is. So, the way the issue ends, it's worth mentioning as well that Gotham Girl's in the Batcave with Duke throughout the issue, and we get some of the backstory. So before we even talk about the ending, I do want to talk about where they got their powers, because they bought them from someone. We don't know who, so that mystery's still there going forward. We might find out next week, given that we're getting like a Gotham Girl focused issue. But I say next week, you know what I mean, next issue.
As well be next week.
2 weeks. Actually, it's 3 weeks because the stupid 5th
Oh, fuck.
Wednesday. I know.
Fucking 8-5 Wednesdays.
I know, it's upsetting. We need those annuals. Quick, DC, come on, get them going. But every time they use their powers, they lose like years off their life. So the way she describes it is, we can be normal for decades and then be like a Superman for a couple of days or maybe months. But we could be gods for a couple of hours and then just die if we wanted to use that much power. So that's very interesting, and I'm really curious, because obviously the mystery of who sold them the powers, I'm sure is something that'll come back up. But to go to the ending, because this is where things... So Gotham Girl gets convinced by Duke to be brave, and she goes out and like stops Gotham, and Gotham dies in her arms, hereby ending the arc. But as the final page like hits, we get some narration from Gotham Girl, seemingly from the future, where she says that her and Duke got married, and that on this day when her brother died, it was the start of a chain of events that led to her killing Batman. And she specifically says Bruce as well. She doesn't say, because my first thought is Matt's dog comes traipsing into the podcast.
Lay down.
So
I'm a half-deaf lab.
My first thought is after I read it was maybe it's the idea of the Batman that dies, but then when I read it again, oh no, she specifically says Bruce. Like she specifically
no. She says Bruce before, where but then the final panel is the death of Batman.
Yeah, but what does she say when she says Bruce? So she specifically says Bruce.
She says Bruce before. Let me find it.
It's on the same page.
It's on the same page.
Yeah.
He says. Oh, you're right. He says after Bruce did what he did, after he died, how he died.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
So, intriguing. It's intriguing that they're setting up that her and I mean, even though I could tell earlier on this year they had chemistry, so it's cool.
Yeah, in the cave, they were good together.
Yeah. So that I'm fine with that side. My only issue with this is that I feel that we've had too many Batman possibly dying arcs in the last 5-6 years.
Yep.
I get that, but the fact that it's saying it up front like this makes me think it's just a swerve.
Yeah, but this is...
that's my whole thing. Is it a swerve, or is it... Because she could just be crazy, too.
She could be, because Psycho Pirate's still affecting her.
Right, and that's my whole thing. What confused me is, were we supposed to read it as this is a fact? Or is this just her narrating?
Her narrating it, yeah.
Yeah, but is it like... Is she telling it? Because this is the first time we've had her narration, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think it's what she believes, Whether it's
Right.
true or not is something else that we'll
Yeah.
find
Right.
out.
I think her still
So
being
that's what.
I think her still being affected by Psychopirate is a big possibility. But as far as like saying it up front like that, didn't Batman R.I.P. have something similar where it teased it right at the start?
I don't remember because that started with Batman and Son, and then did the whole Black Glove thing.
Yeah, but I'm
So I have to
sure
go back and read it.
I am positive. I don't know if it was right at the start of Batman and Son. I don't think it was, but I'm sure at some point, either early in Batman R.I.P. or on the lead up to it, there was a like, there's going to be a death of Batman kind of thing going on soon.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'd have to go back and read it.
Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know, but that is my only issue with the issue. Not to use the word issue too many times, but I did like the issue overall though. I actually really, I thought the action was fun. I thought Batman calling Justice League was cool. Gotham Girl, like, you know, gaining the courage to go out and fight him and making the right choice. I liked all of that stuff. My only complaint would be, another Batman possibly dying thing. I hope it's a swerve. I hope she's actually still crazy or affected by Psychopirate.
I won't mind. Depends how it goes. I did like her holding Gotham like Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Death of Superman.
It was nice, that touch.
Yeah, it was very, very similar. So no, I like the book. I thought it was a great end to the first arc. I've really enjoyed the first arc of Batman.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I like that he flew a plane into Gotham and not the city, the person.
It's usually the cats interrupting the show, so we have some dog activity going on, some canine.
Because he can't do anything quiet because he's 100 pounds and 11 years old. So, yeah.
Oh, good, he's down.
Just not
He's
gonna
down.
talk to him.
He's down.
Yeah.
Go.
He's down. And for the audio listeners, he's not dead. When I say down, I mean he's lying down.
No.
It's fine. Before you start crying and sending hate mail that we're.
I'm just gonna put a rug down. That's it. I'm gonna rug the
That
wood
would
in there.
literally solve that entire problem.
I know. So.
Well, there you go. All right, so that's Batman. Really good end to the first arc, and curious as to what's coming next. So we've got a epilogue issue with Gotham Girl, and then we're on to Monster Men for a couple issues. So fun stuff. That'll take us on to Superman issue 5. Peter J. Tomasi, Patrick Gleason, and art by Doug Mahnke. Do you know what I really liked about Superman and Batman this week, and just in terms of having them side by side? I like that Batman, to use a wrestling term, Batman put over Superman by saying he needed him to deal with an issue, and then Superman put over Batman because there's a fucking Batcave on the moon.
Which I instinctually want to hate.
But you can't because it's amazing.
I can't because it's so comic book. Like, New 52, I felt went out of its way to be like, look how much like us they are. And I was like, well, that's not why I read comics.
Yeah,
you know,
we're
like, I read
edgy.
comics for the fun. Yeah, oh, I don't know.
It's so Bruce though as well.
Yeah.
But how the hell does he get into the moon?
Oh, well, look at the
To do all
watchtower. He
this.
takes a little shuttle down from the watchtower. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
Where the fucker finds the time to do this kind of stuff? Because he's so big. He's in Batman. He's in Detective.
Yeah.
He's in All Star Batman. He's got all these things going on. And
Like, I would expect.
actually,
Yeah.
something we never talked about in Supergirl. Actually, it was a tidbit they dropped in there. That Supergirl only landed on Earth a few months ago, meaning that the New 52, as an entirety, only lasted over a few months.
Well, a few months plus the 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but a few months since the start of the New 52.
Yeah.
You know, it's forgetting Justice League because that was set 5 years in the past. New 52, from all the other arcs started, it's only been a few
This
months.
makes my brain hurt. This is why I get people that like no continuity. Just because, oh,
It's fine.
I know Orlando said when he says a few months, he just means less than a year. So it could be like 10, 11 months rather than 3 or 4.
But still, the point I was making, the reason why I brought that up is just, Batman, all the stuff that happened in the New 52, all of that's only a few months, and all the stuff that's going on now, and he has the time to take
To be fair,
shuttle to the
this
moon.
could have been done before the New 52 stuff.
That could have been true.
Or what he does is he subcontracts it out and gets other people to build it for him.
Who's he sending
then he
to
gets
the moon?
Amanda. And then he gets Amanda Waller to shoot those people, so nobody knows about it.
He makes Flash do it because he's like, yeah, you can do it quicker.
You know.
But no,
quick. Go up there. And,
but I like what Superman says. He knows it's there because he took a page out of Batman's book and has been shadowing Batman. So they're cementing the mistrust, but it's more like friendly mistrust between the two.
It's not so much that he doesn't trust Batman in general. It's that to him this is a new Batman. This is a different Batman. So he's just he's checking him out, making sure he's like his Bruce and whatever, and building that trust up again. Now,
so robot bats in the Batcave.
Robot bats. Some sort of defense system from the seems of it, and we also have the Hellbat mech suit, which Lois goes into Iron Man style to beat up Eradicator. Which that was just a badass moment. Like I know
it's so cool.
It is one of those goofy comic things, but her and John taking him on in a fight was just kind of really badass. Well, Superman was inside Eradicator, sweet talking the Kryptonian souls to help him in the fight.
How creepy was that? The art for those things, though.
Oh, they did a good job.
So good.
That different, the coloring, going all blue and stuff for those panels was really, really nice touch.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also the whole taking people away from Metropolis, so Metropolis doesn't get.
I noticed that.
I'm starting to think who's ever in charge at DC is going, all right, that's the Zack Snyder does in the movies, but we here in the comics, our heroes still act like heroes.
Not even the comics, even in the Supergirl TV show, there was an episode.
Yeah, that's that one too.
Halfway through the season that directly showed a very similar scene to the end of Man of Steel, but made a point of saying, "Oh, but no, she'll stop and try to save people from the debris and stuff."
Yeah.
Anyway,
but it just shows that this Superman is the real Superman, for all lack of a better term. So I appreciated that.
Do you know what I like about the dynamics in this book, right? And something they've been developing over this arc is that Superman, surprisingly, is the protective one, and Lois is the one that's like, no, let John throw a punch, let him get into the fight. I like that because it plays to Lois's character as well, because she's the feisty reporter who'll get into danger because she wants the story.
She's scrappy.
Yeah. So I like that.
Well, it makes sense because Clark's lived his entire life knowing that if I punch somebody too hard, it's gonna vaporize him.
Yeah.
So let's try to keep the boy in check. So, but then Lois is like, no, let him be a little boy, let him fall off and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good. It's playing both of them to who their characters are, and it's tying into just how they will be parents, and it's really fun to read. But when you're reading a good comic book, it should feel like you're watching something, because you're that into it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the best compliment I can give to a creative team in a comic book. But no, I assume Connor geeked out at the Obi-Wan reference as well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously. Yeah. It's not like it was the only Star Wars reference this week.
Oh yeah, there was another one. There's also a Pokemon reference in a book, which I am going to shake my finger at very, very harshly when we get to it. But yeah, but I really like Superman. I thought this was the best issue since the first one, or maybe the first two. But no, I thought it was. Yeah.
I loved the bit where John heat vision blasts Eradicator in the face, and he's just on fire. And he just goes persistent.
Yeah. Well, I also like who is this Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
It feels like he's a real person.
Yeah, that was good fun. Yeah, all the Eradicator stuff's good, and he's reminding me more of the Borg the more I hear him speak. I kept expecting him to just drop the line "resistance is futile."
Yeah, or something like that. Well, we know that Tomasi likes making Star Trek references, so it wouldn't surprise me if it happens, because they had that hole in Green Lantern Corps where they made the net, and Garden was like, "I saw this in an episode of Star Trek once." So
yeah, so the issue ends. Superman's got all the souls of Krypton in him to help him fight, and that's a cliffhanger for the presumably last issue of the arc next time.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like it's going out of the last issue now. And I know that from Amazon, the first trade 6 issues. Same with Batman, but Batman's got a one sort of epilogue thing, so that at least makes sense.
Only 6, not 7. It's not having the rebirth.
That's been really a consistency. If you look at the solicits, or not solicits, but the Amazon listings that always go up early, some of them say they have the Rebirth and some of them don't.
It is worth noting those Amazon listings are not always accurate.
They're not always, but often they are as well. So it's always something. It's worth paying attention to them, but it's always worth remembering they might alter it a little bit. But it is also worth mentioning that most of the Rebirth issues are actually in the final New 52 trades.
Yeah, that's weird.
So take that, because there's a really weird Batman trade that's like, it's like issue 52 that Snyder didn't write, like an annual and the Rebirth. It's like a really weird book. It just feels like these collection of things that
just getting the last of the stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, so you can look at all those Amazon listings.
There are some though, like that one. I can see the Batman Rebirth going with that rather than the new stuff.
Yeah, because it wasn't really tying into it. Not much.
Right.
But like Superman should be in this.
You would think so. No, but I can see the Superman one being in Action Comics instead.
Yeah.
That's true.
It seems like it fits.
So it's more like a character rebirth than a book rebirth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it shared both. And, I mean, didn't Detective have elements in Batman too, though, in the rebirth?
Nah,
not really.
No.
The Rebirth was just completely standard. It was the Calendar Man thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just like a one
Oh,
shot.
that's right.
It was fine. It was an alright issue, but it wasn't.
Wasn't connected to anything.
Yeah. But anyway, that's Superman. Believe it or not, we tangented away from it, but Superman issue 5 was really good.
Yeah.
So next up, Justice League issue 3. Bryan, Hitch, and Tony Daniel still as the team. It was fine. I thought this was probably the weakest of I really enjoyed the last issue because I thought it set up a lot of cool stuff with Batman. Like, we need him, and this issue follows that through with Batman coming to the Kent farm. Although I have to say, what type of weird alien creature was that on the page with Lois? Because it wasn't John Kent or John White. It was some weird looking thing.
Huge eyes,
yeah,
like Pinocchio boy.
And
yeah,
he wrote him like he was like 6 as well. Like, the way he spoke to Lois was like, "Mom, is it the Justice League?" Like, it was just weird. Like, it felt completely different to every other version of him.
Yeah, I'm borderline not caring at this point because that feels like there's no stakes. Like, I got much more excited when the Justice League showed up in Batman than anything that happened in this book, and they were there for like a page, and here they had the whole thing, and it's just people joining up and becoming these massive creatures to stop something for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, it's
weirdly,
so off
this
the
was
wall.
kind of my favorite issue of the series yet.
Oh, here we go.
That's so off
There's
the
no
wall
hope
stuff.
for you.
I know. That, like you said, it is so off the wall, and the big, massive creatures all standing around talking. Like, I found that interesting.
I'm not as uncaring as Matt. I'm still enjoying it as a fun romp, but I do think this was probably the weakest issue of the main arc. It may be better than the Rebirth issue, but
It's like bootleg Morrison type of stuff. Like, it's not quite Morrison, but it looks like Morrison.
Yeah, but I like the idea of these big giant being things all representing the different stuff. Like, when like the Aquaman rises out of the sea and the lighthouse like crumbles behind it. I really like that.
Yeah.
Oh, the art's good. That was good throughout.
Yeah,
It's fine.
And
I
you still
care
got
more
like
about the weird art than the actual story.
Actually,
Like,
the art was fine throughout, with the exception of John. I want to point that
Well, and
out.
also, what I mean by the weird art is, like, we're getting these weird probe things that keep attacking that are like bugs, and then these gigantic people made out of more people. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah,
So,
I have to admit, I have no idea what's going on. I don't think we're meant to yet. Obviously, they're going to reveal more of what these beings are, the kindred or whatever. Wonder Woman's inside one of them. She gets trapped in one of them at the start.
Yeah. Well, and I get that whatever put those seeds there, these guys are there to stop that.
Ultron, Matt. Ultron.
Uh-oh.
I caught it quick that time and didn't get loud yet.
well done.
But whatever implanted those seeds that Superman is going to have to find a way to get out. That's what these giants are there to stop, I would guess.
Yeah.
Celestials, almost.
I think I just felt like there was less advanced in this issue compared to the last one, so I just didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, I had fun with it. Again, still liking Jessica and Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, their footing's still good. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked the two lanterns going off and doing their thing.
Yeah, they go
In
off into
space.
space to try and find the source of the things.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what they're getting called, the things. Because let's be honest, they're probably never going to get brought up again after this arc's done. So the
No,
things.
they're not, and that's fine. But,
No, like I say, it's a romp, and the issues are varying. I'd say this is probably the weakest one, but that's Justice League.
fair enough.
That'll take us on to Nightwing issue 3. Tim Seeley and Javier Fernandez on the art. Nightwing's been great so far, like really, really good. And I think this continued that. This was a fun issue where Batgirl shows up.
Yep.
More Babs, always good. Thumbs up from me. Babs shows up to find out why Nightwing flaked on their date, and is not too pleased about his working with Raptor. But she joins up to help. I like the reference to the whole date thing. You remember the first issue where, oh, this was a date. I thought it was superhero stuff. And then in this one, she says, well, if we can't be on a date, then we can do some superhero stuff.
Yeah.
That was a nice callback to that joke. But it's basically the three of them going through a house which is full of booby traps and puzzles to get to this guy who designed the maze that Batman get lost in under Gotham in the Court of Oz, which is really cool. So I had a lot of fun with this one. That's another good issue, and it does the whole thing where the issue starts like further ahead, where you think Raptor's killed this guy.
Raptor has the worst reputation because every time he does something bad, and they explain it out later, I think, oh man, no, he's done crossed it this time. So
that's why this opening works, because you think Raptor could have done it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only reason it works.
And every time I'm proven wrong, but I'm like, nah, man, he's snapped. His name's Raptor. Like, he's gutted this dude.
He's still a dick, but he's a fun dick.
But that's what. So I brought it up in the group, and to borrow another wrestling term, because Pete put over. But in wrestling, you have these show-off heels that are bad guys to the point that, hey, look at me, watch me do this. I'm so cool, no one else can. And that's what Raptor is. We're kind of like, I really don't like him, but that was really cool. And they work out with that way here.
He's really growing on me, though.
Yeah. He is. He's growing on me, and I think... I'm not sure where they're going to have him end up, if he's going to be like a recurring character once the arc's done or whatever. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I like what they're doing like with exploring Dick's character, because Babs is obviously really like against what he's doing right now. Like everything, like he's like stripping away everything that makes him Dick Grayson, and Raptor's arguing that no, this is who you really are. You've just been manipulated by Batman since a young age and all that.
But is he stripping away what makes him Dick Grayson? Like, because I feel there's a long game being played that he's not
that's
really.
the argument, isn't it? This is the analysis of his character. But what I think is going to ultimately happen here with Dick, though, is he's going to realise that a lot of what he thinks is just Batman teaching him is still him.
Yeah,
you know,
that's why Batman brought it out.
Yeah, that's what he's going to ultimately learn, and he's going to have trouble getting there, obviously. But no, Bab's been upset at him, really upset at me, because it's like mum and dad fighting.
I really liked the Robin Hood story. Since he was a carnival kid, he traveled around, and all he had was this book about Robin Hood, and and he would bring it up to Babs. And I like how he says, the daughter of the police commissioner is like, yeah, if you rob from the rich to give to the poor, you're still breaking the law. And, so I love that.
But Bab has been like a natural Judge Dredd right there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I am the law.
Yeah. But it's just the degrees of what they're doing here. Is you have Babs on one side, and you have Raptor on the other, and then Dick's caught in the middle.
It kind of reminds me a lot of what was being done in the Grayson run, with Raptor playing a similar role to Midnighter.
Yeah, but on a different side of things, I think.
Yeah, but like it's the same thing where they had this relationship where they kind of like Midnight tries to push him in one direction and see what he is, and Raptor's kind of doing the same thing but from a different angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go through this mansion that's like amazing, full of traps. That was a good fun. While I was telling the Robin Hood in narration, you see like this double page spread of all these different traps that they have to avoid, which is a lot of fun. As a fan of things like the movie Cube Like, I enjoy this House of Booby Traps kind of thing.
And it tells a story at the same time, which was cool. Like, it starts, like, the first trap's a punji pit based off of the first hunters and gatherers and whatnot. And then as they keep going, they get more and more elaborate, which is cool.
So, the whole killing of this guy who made the blueprints, the architect of the maze, turns out to be a ruse. Raptor just did that, made him play dead. He's not actually dead, he's playing dead. So the Parliament of Owls thinks he's killed him. And the Parliament of Owls thinks, oh look, Nightwing's fallen in front of Batgirl. This is the start of like him unraveling, and he's going to lose his family because they're all going to think he's going off the deep end. But we see that in actual fact, the guy's alive, and this is all part of the plan. Although Babs is still pissed because she still thinks Dick's sacrificing
himself
to achieve this goal.
Yep.
So that was the gist of the book, and no, it was really good art again. I have basically no complaint other than Babs being upsets me, but that's just I guess.
Did anyone else's heart break a little bit on? I think it was the very last panel, or no, second to last page, where it's the the Russian doll.
Yeah, and
it's cracked. Yeah.
He's glued it together to give to her, but he's obviously not done it yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So that's Nightwing issue 3. That's being really, really good. So that'll take us on. Speaking of Babs, to Batgirl and the Birds of Prey issue 1. Julian Shawna Benson writing and Claire Rowe on the art. Now I liked issue 1. Had some really weird art issues that I brought up at the time with the mouths. I do think the art is a bit of an improvement here. However, there is still some oddities. There's a page, the big 1-page spread of Barbara and Huntress like facing each other.
Right at the end.
Near the end.
Oh,
Barbara's face in that page, I have no idea what's going on there.
There's another one earlier on. It's a panel where Babs is shocked by something.
Mm-hmm.
And Black Canary's holding her back. And her face, I don't get it.
Yeah, there's some weird things going on with the faces occasionally, but the fact is, it's not even all the time. Like some of the action, like I think the action's done very well. See, like Huntress on the motorbike at the start, I think.
There's he's great, Claire Rowe's great at breakdowns, but the details of the art, like Pete's lips issues last time, and then here some of the more finer details on the face, it can be kind of distracting.
I think that she has a really good sense of motion.
Yeah.
And the movement always feels great. But any time, like you say, its faces, detailed points of impact just look wrong.
Yeah.
That said, though, it is still an improvement over the last issue. Because in the last issue, almost every single panel with a face in it, I was like, oh, those lips look weird. Whereas this issue, it was like, once every second page I was noticing something.
Well, sure, but there are some points where they avoided it by just not having any lips.
Yeah,
there's at least twice where Babs just has no lips.
Yeah.
Which honestly, go with that. It works.
That's the whole thing. Do a minimalist style then, if that's what you're gonna do.
If that's your problem, work on it by that. That's fine. Yeah. But the mix and match is weird.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the plot of this issue, of course, is that the guy they were chasing in the Rebirth issue, which, by the way, the Rebirth issue is basically issue 1, and this is basically issue 2. So if you didn't read the Rebirth issue, you should, because it was the first part of this story. But so the guy they were chasing after dies from lots of bites, and we see later on what those bites would have been. And so Batgirl's bought the clock tower, the lair of the Birds of Prey, which is cool, nice touch. And they basically say they go after this guy, this crime boss named Santo, I believe his name was, and they go to his mansion. And he's like this exotic guy who has like lions and tigers and all types of animals that you shouldn't have in your house because you're probably going to get killed.
There's a few zebras in there.
Yeah. And so Canary and Batgirl go to question him, and Huntress, of course, has already beat them there. And she's trying to she's like waterboarding the guy in the fountain.
God, it's such a difference in character from what we were reading in Gleason with her. And that's fine, but I'm still used to her being that version as matron.
Yeah.
And measured and careful. and here she's just waterboarding dudes in the fountain in his backyard.
I think it's like the fact that she has a mask, so she feels like she's got the freedom.
Sure.
Maybe she's just kind of letting loose a bit because she's like not too concerned.
Yeah.
I'm just taking it she's angry, therefore is a bit more reckless.
Yeah. So.
But so there's a great debate stuff going on here. Everything with Babs and Huntress like arguing about what to do. I laughed out loud once they kind of agreed to work together, and they had to like establish how they're going to get information from Santo. And Huntress is like wanting to like torture him, and Batgirl's like, no, we interrogate him. And Black Canary says, let's put it to a vote. And then you turn the page, it's the next page, and like both Batgirl and Canary have got their hand up to say don't torture him, but so is Santo. Santo's like in on the vote. And that really cracked me up. That was a good joke.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, the lighter aspects too, that are nice sprinkled in.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all the way through. But like that, like him raising his hand because he doesn't want to be tortured. That was a great.
Yeah, I think this book's a lot of fun. I think they're getting the character relationships down, which I think is what it needs.
This is weirdly one of my least favorite books at the minute. The art really puts me off. Like I find myself. Man that's
still reading Red Hood and the Outlaws and Suicide Squad.
I know. You read Suicide Squad?
Yeah, but not after this. That's a spoiler. But...
well, we'll get there. How do you know I'm going to carry on reading it?
Yeah, no
because
spoilers.
You're Connor, and you're going to. I know you.
Harley Quinn's in it, so of course he's going to keep reading Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
But no, like I don't know. I wouldn't put it in my least favorite. I did like it a lot, but
I liked it a lot. I mean, I liked this more than Justice League this week quite
too.
easily. So
I don't know. See, I like parts of it, like you said, like the jokes. I like the relationships. I like that she phones Gordon at the end.
I like that too.
But then it feels like every other page I'm getting completely pulled out of it by the art, and it's just killing the story for me because I'm constantly losing focus off it.
See, if the story is good enough, I can excuse the art long enough.
And also, I do like.
But if they're both not working, that's when.
Well, no, I get that, but the story isn't quite compelling enough for me to ignore it entirely. It's to the point where the art is making me pause and taking me out of the flow of the story, and it's hampering it. So.
Fair enough, but I don't feel that way, and I think because there is still stuff in the art I like. I think the colours are good. Like I think the colours all pop really nicely. They've got obviously a lot of purples and stuff because both Batgirl and Huntress are in the purples and
right.
I like that. I like the motion. I think weirdly Jim's face at the end is completely fine.
Maybe Claire just can't draw women. Maybe in a weird sense of irony, the female artist can't draw females but can draw men perfectly fine.
And how awful would that be for this book that is led by a trio of women?
I just think it's getting used to drawing these characters, and once she has enough issues under her belt, then
after all, we did say this was an improvement in the art over the first issue, so maybe again we'll keep.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with that obviously because I want to see if it does.
Oh, pardon me.
Improve enough that I like it, but at the minute it is really hampering the enjoyment of the book for me.
Okay, but no, that's just an example of Connor being wrong, which we'll get to later in Connor's Corner, I'm sure. But let's back on the Verge of Prey. Actually, before we wrap that up, we should just mention the villain plot. The Asp shows up with his army of snakes, and they fend him off. But he goes to his boss or the person who's paying him. Who's not the fake Oracle. Oracle's feeding this boss information, but it's a female villain who basically says, right, let's get a team together and kill the Birds of Prey, which I presume will be the plot of the next issue. But no, really fun stuff. So that's Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. Next up, let's go to the green section of the week. So Green Arrow issue 5, Benjamin Percy and Jean E. Ferreyra on the art. And this, I think, is the end of this arc too. I think we're bleeding into a new arc for the next issue. So we're on the Inferno. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big giant boat.
Yeah. A boat. It's more like
It's more like a city.
Yeah. What do you call we don't really have them in existence, but it's like a space station but on sea.
It's like a citadel.
Sea station.
Yeah, sea station. Yeah, I guess that's what you'd call it.
Oh, but they keep saying it sails around and
I still think it goes underwater.
I don't. That is not aquadynamic. Have you ever seen a fish that looks like that, Connor?
No, but I still think it sinks under.
There you go.
It has to. How the hell are they hiding this thing if it doesn't go underwater?
To be fair, Matt.
I don't.
To be fair, I've never seen a building that shape either. I've never seen anything in the existence of the world that shape.
To be fair, I'm not sure how that thing floats.
Yeah, that's. But I'm saying,
maybe it builds all the way to the bottom of the sea, and it has retractable stilts that takes it down and up.
Maybe it's a platform, but the way that Dante was talking about it, it operates in international waters, which tells me it moves around a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't need to know.
Well, that said, Matt, you could just
ongoing.
But Matt,
you know what I mean?
You could just be in international waters and be in that one international place and stay there.
I guess.
Like, once you go far out enough, you're in international waters. You can just stay there.
All I know is that I care way more what's going on here than the physics of the Inferno, right?
On the upside, though, Matt.
What's up?
Surely they're saving on taxis by being out in international waters.
Well, they're an evil bank. Of course they are. Even if they weren't an evil bank.
I'm just saying. Like,
that's something a regular bank would do.
Why is that? That's a bonus for them, not a bonus for anyone else.
Yeah.
You say that's a good thing. They're cheating the system. They're being even more villainous.
I don't have my money in the burning bank, all right?
My God. Like,
Citibank kind of is the burning bank. So
they're kidnapping homeless people. They're killing people. They're doing all sorts of evil, like scheming shit where they're setting up the domination of the planet, but they're cheating on taxis and that. We just can't allow that to happen.
I assume they're doing that anyways, like most corporations.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the line that we're not going to let them cross. We're not happy about that.
My God, Oliver Queen as a tax accountant.
Do you reckon Queen Industries is paying all their taxes properly?
No.
Well, to be fair, the CEO guy is like
one of the CFO.
Yeah,
they definitely do not.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. Anyway, so yeah, this is Green Arrow gets to the Inferno. Him and Diggle, like, fight through. There's some great double page spreads like them just like fighting through various guys and sneaking in and all that stuff. One of my favorite panels in this issue actually is when he hears Black Canary use her cry.
Yeah.
And just the smile on his face, like I thought it was a really nice.
He smiles so much in this issue.
He does. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Nice. It's like even though he's gone through shit and hell to get to this, like almost literally for this, but he can't help but have fun at it all. Yeah.
So, Emmy reveals that she actually is not evil, as we suspected. So that's good fun, and she fills us all in, and Canary breaks out as a cry. Nice big moment, nice big panel on that page of her using her cry. So it's one of those things where like the superheroes all have their one, like Superman always has the shirt opening thing, and whenever it happens, it's always like a fist pump moment. Canary has a cry, and you always see the rings, and good. Lanterns always have their charging, moment. So, I thought this was in a weird way, it was eventful and a lot of stuff happened, but it wasn't like a lot of plot. It was like just lots of action and like dealing with the end of this plot and setting up the tail end that teased the next thing.
Yeah.
It was fun. Like, I thought it was good. I thought the art was nice again from Ferreyra. If you've been enjoying his stuff, you'll enjoy this issue too.
Yeah. Talking about the art, the very first panel, the melted face. Oh my God, looks phenomenal.
Actually, do you know what panels I like? See the page where Green Arrow finally reunites with Black Canary, and there's that close up where he smiles at her, and then she slaps him.
Yeah,
like, I loved all that page. That page was just start to finish.
Classic. Yeah, that's a classic Arrow Canary moment.
Yeah.
But that's my only problem here is if this is the first time I'm reading these characters, and just through this book, their relationship's very, very rushed. Where they're, he's smiling because he knows the cry, yet they really weren't hanging out that much.
That is true, because in the Rebirth, they were like introducing to each other, weren't they?
Yeah, so, but that said, it's written well enough that unless you're looking for that, it doesn't really matter.
I think it's written well enough, but it's also a case of, even if you're new to comics, you're coming into Rebirth knowing that there's all this comic history, so I think you would just kind of accept it almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. You just assume, they've had something. They've met before, obviously.
Yeah. I just would have fixed it by making them old flames from back when they were younger. and then they're reconnecting now that they're both superheroes. You know.
So Oliver makes the choice to bomb the place that has all of his money in it. So he makes that choice. He makes that conscious choice, and he's like, "No, you know what? I'm just going to be the Green Arrow now and be poor."
Yep.
And that's fine.
Takes him a while though. He really doesn't want to do it.
No, it takes him
and
some time.
And I love that. And he's like, "Well, no, this is my salvation. All right, well, boom. You can't let these guys win."
It really ties back to maybe the second issue where Dinah was telling him where he was showing all the stuff he does with the money. And in this, he was like still trying to justify it to himself. Like, look at all the stuff I could do. And it's like, well, oh well.
Yeah.
Let's start again. And also, that ship had priceless works of art and whatnot in it too. You know, so I also added to the decision.
He has the perfect, like, anytime she's mad at him, look, I did technically make the choice to bomb billions of dollars to make you happy. So you know what?
Well, and this also, we talked about the problem of him losing all his money and how many times this is going to happen. And this adds a finality to it. And it also is going to make him more distinct from Bruce Wayne in that, you know, now he's just full-time Green Arrow.
Which is good.
He's a Robin Hood. Yeah, and that's always good.
I think making that difference from Batman's actually quite a good idea. So, yeah, hopefully it sticks and hopefully this is a thing going forward.
As long as it doesn't impact on his ability to come up with new trick arrows, I'm down.
I think not that expensive. That's fine.
No, man,
I don't know. R&D is pretty expensive.
Yeah, but this is less R&D and more him in a garage, just like tinkering.
Well, it kind of all doesn't matter because at the end he washes up on an island and goes, "Oh no, not again," which I loved.
Oh yeah, that amused me. Yeah.
It's one of those things where when we heard he was going back to the island, you kind of groaned a little bit. But the way they play it, as he does the same thing as us.
Yep.
Where it kind of makes it okay again.
Yeah, so we should mention that whilst the whole thing's blowing up, it also blows up like the ships and stuff that are connected to it, or they like break away and he falls in the water and he washes up on an island. Also worth mentioning that Shadow grabs Emmy in the kerfuffle.
Takes off in a helicopter.
So Emmy's still with her mother, and this time though Shadow knows she's been non-evil, therefore in trouble.
Yeah, he was like, is it a double cross or is it a triple cross?
Yeah.
You thought that I thought that you knew.
It's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's where we are with Green Arrow. I good first arc.
I love how she talks down to Ollie. It's like, I didn't even hit you with a broadhead arrow. I hit you with the trank, and I added the tracer. You were fine the entire time. You just didn't know it. Like, this is coming from like a 14-year-old girl, and I just love that. And if they had made the decision with Emmy to make her a legacy character and have her become Green Arrow, I'd be totally okay with that.
Well, here's something I think they should do. I think Emmy should join the Teen Titans.
Yeah?
I can see it happening in a year or so.
And I also think that her and Damien should be love interests. I think they're made for each other.
I can see it.
They are. They're both basically raised the same way.
I think as
in
far as
equal weapons cult.
Yeah, I can see her joining Teen Titans in a couple of arcs time. Like once it's kind of cleared up a little bit in this run, and she's got a bit more stability. I can see that happening.
And I, as much as I miss Connor Hawke, that was such a weird character to be a legacy.
Yeah.
You know, and here, she's still a queen, but she's also been adopted. You know, so there's stuff there, and she's so different than Ollie that in a few years' time, if they ever wanted to do that and replace him, then as a Green Arrow fan, it'd be more than okay. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, so that's Green Arrow issue 5. That'll take us on to Green Lanterns issue 5. Sam Humphries and Robson Rocha on the art.
Hey guys, did you know that Simon Baz was in a car accident and that Jessica Cruz never left her house until she got the ring? Did you guys know that?
Now,
are you sure?
No,
yeah,
Matt.
Because for 6 goddamn issues, Sam Humphries has decided to let us know, which I was cool after 4, right? But now it's beating a dead horse, and it's making me not want to read the comic. See, and I really like this stuff, but
the funny thing is, Matt, in a weird way, this series has grown on me more as it's went on.
I was going to say, this might be my favorite issue of this so far.
I like what's going on. We're wasting valuable page space, reiterating.
Yeah, but what else are they going to spend it on? If they don't spend it on that, it's just going to be more Red Lanterns nonsense.
Oh, you don't need Red Lanterns. You could develop them in other ways than just constantly reminding us he was
like
a car accident.
I enjoyed the interplay, but like there was a really good moment in because the first page has got Julian narration where it's like swapping between them.
Yeah.
And there's a really cool moment where Jessica says that Simon's, what's the word she uses? She says he's prejudiced, and then it goes to Simon's box, and he says, "I'm not prejudiced. The rest of the world is."
Yeah.
It was just a really nice bit of.
Well, and stuff like that's great, and even this Hell Seed thing is fine.
Dexter.
I mean,
more Dexter is always good.
Dexter, because Blaze failed, and I love that Dexter wears the ring on his tail, because why not? But yeah, if there's so much better ways to do the reiteration of their issues, like you could have had Jessica's sister, while she's trapped in this rage state, be saying about how her sister's, she locked herself up because of issues with willpower, or done the point of view of Nazir, his brother-in-law, in the accident, instead of them just retelling us it again. And it's just very frustrating as a reader, at least this reader.
I get what you're saying, and they have reiterated this stuff a lot. At the same time, for whatever weird reason, like Simon and Jess, like they're really grown on me, and I mean I really like them anyway, but
yeah,
they like, because it was less about the punching the Red Lanterns and more about them fighting their inner struggles and whatever. I will say it kind of ends abruptly, like the way like Simon's in trouble and Jess is like cowering and saying she can't do it.
It's proper a cliffhanger, isn't it?
It's a proper cliffhanger.
And I have no doubt that it's just the Emerald Sight. There's no way the Red Lanterns win.
Oh yeah. I'm sure
this is his. Yeah. This is his Emerald Sight. He's gonna pop out of it and shake Jess out of it, and then she's gonna make her first construct. Which I like that whole sequence. Her trying to make the construct
and failing
and almost getting it, and then that's what causes her panic spiral to further go. So
like an old man almost getting his first erection in years, but just not quite hitting it.
So are you saying she needs some sort of Green Lantern Viagra to kick to like an adrenaline shot to get her going?
She needs some Speed Force from Barry. That's what she needs.
No!
That's some willpower.
Yeah, that's exactly what she needs.
I'm sorry for that metaphor, folks. I went off on a tangent.
Big time. Not even little.
But no, I oddly enjoyed this. Maybe not quite the most, but like I feel like the stuff that was annoying me about the book in the first few issues is annoying me less because I'm liking the characters more.
Same thing's going on for me.
Don't get me wrong. It's still like it's still further down in the list every week. Like, there's no way this is on my top 5. This
should be a book that I'm dropping, but because I like the characters and there's that promise of the Halloween issue.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You're sticking around because you want to see that Guardian dressed up as E.T.
Yep.
Well, I just can't wait for the Red Lantern stuff to be gone. But I feel like after that, I'm really going to enjoy this book a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, do you know what's going to happen though when the Red Lanterns? The tease at the end of that last issue of this arc's going to be next. Yeah. Agent Orange is coming. He's like, no.
I will throw the book across the room. So hopefully I'm not reading it on my iPad.
Yeah. But... something that's not another color of the spectrum, please. Let's have something else.
Although a Larfleeze Halloween special, where he just robs everybody of their candy, that could be funny.
I could be down for that.
That needs to be like an annual. You know what I mean? Not the main story.
What I want is her Pokemon to come to life, and she has to fight them.
Oh, there was 2 Pokemon references this week. God damn, this wasn't even the one I was thinking of. Oh yeah, negative books. No, Matt, I'm on your side. This was the worst issue. God damn it. Jesus Christ.
It was a weird combination of Pokemon as well. A Charizard and then down to a Bulbasaur and then a Jigglypuff.
I feel like
interesting.
I feel like they really made an effort with these 2 references this week. Like they've put these in last minute because obviously Pokemon Go is not that old. Relatively speaking, so I feel like they... Anyway, so just to clarify something Matt brought up about the Emerald Sight, so Simon gets another Emerald Sight vision again, and he sees all the Justice League infected with the Red Rage. setting up the stakes of what's going to happen if the Red Lanterns win this. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's where we are.
I tell you what I love though, the shot of him trying to cure Atrocitus of the Rage.
But it not failing.
Because
walking out of the
because
smoke.
I can do the impossible. And then Atrocitus is like, "Nah, man, I am Rage."
Yeah,
Like,
but just the way it's drawn, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That look nice. Alright, so that's Green Lanterns issue 5. That'll take us on to Aquaman issue 5. Dan Abnett writing, Phil Briones on the art. And I gotta say, this is continually getting less interesting as the issues go on.
It's getting stale, isn't it?
Almost the Aquaman and Mira stuff, because the last issue ended with like the army showing up to stop them after Mira breaks him out of the prison. And all they do this issue is fight the army. Like, that's all Mira and Aquaman do. And they sort of, like, it's just more of the same, like, bickering about Aquaman not wanting to fight them and, like, well, we've started this. Like, it was the same argument we've been hearing since issue 1. And all we get other than that is Black Manta meets the head of Nemo, who's the Fisher King, and it's literally 1 page. We don't really get much out of it other than the fact that he meets him. And we get another 1 page thing of the Royal Navy officer from the first issue showing up to give Aquaman a note. She hands it off to that police officer that Aquaman
I like that she's sticking around though.
I like that she's sticking around too. So that page didn't make me smile because, oh great, I liked her in that first issue. But that's basically it. Like, there's almost nothing to talk about. Like, nothing. Really
the ending.
happens.
The last page where Superman shows up.
Okay, sure. Superman shows up to presumably try and like talk Aquaman down or possibly fight him if the need arises.
Yeah, which not looking forward to seeing, to be honest.
Yeah, I have to admit, I didn't really like this issue all that much.
It kind of, I'm not sure if Superman's doing this of his own choice or is he doing like as a favour to the government? Like,
I don't even know if he's showing up as a favourite of the government. I think it's just a case he sees the fighting on TV or whatever, and he just shows up like, all right, I'm going to stop this.
Maybe.
He sees us in a bar brawl. I was like, hey man, we need to talk. Let's over here, grab a stool.
Yeah,
I
hope it's that, and it's not the government's asking.
Because I really don't think like the Superman we have now would even be contacted by the government yet. Like, I don't think people were there with him.
They'd probably more be keen to send Luthor over than
That's
Superman.
true. I suppose it depends like how far ahead of like Justice League
this is
this Aquaman art. Yeah,
that's true. So we don't know when it's set, so that's a fair point. But at least for all the other things, like there's not a single Superman book right now where I feel like he's at the point where the government would be.
He's not, but I feel like every other book is ahead of the Superman books. Because like in Justice League, in Batman, where they show up, like they're all ahead of the Superman books.
Oh well, I don't know if Justice League is ahead of. No, I guess it is. It's definitely ahead of action, obviously, but it's ahead of action for sure. But maybe I guess it is kind of ahead of Superman too. But not much happened. It was mostly just them fighting the army and bickering about the same debate they've been having the whole time.
I mean, it looked good. It was nice, and the action looks good.
I mean, it's not a chore to read. Like, Abnett's a good enough writer that it reads well enough. It's just nothing that interesting.
It reads very fast as well.
And it's a shame, because the first issue was definitely the best one, and it's just continuously got less interesting and more stale as the arcs went on. So, shame. But that's Aquaman this week. That'll take us on to Suicide Squad issue 1. Rob Williams writing, Jim Lee are on the main story, and Jason Fabok on the backup story. Now, keep in mind, this is not a longer issue. This is the regular, 20-22 page count. It's just that to keep Jim Lee on schedule, they're making the main story only be like 14-15 pages, whilst the backup then takes up with a different artist.
Whatever you gotta do.
I will say though, I felt that short length. I couldn't believe seeing that bottom corner of that page that said, "Oh, and next time this." I'm like, wait, what? That's the whole thing.
It felt like half an issue, because probably it was half an issue.
Yeah, it legit feels like half an issue.
I think it was a little bit longer, but yeah.
It feels like half an issue, not so much in page count. I'm just meaning story beats. It doesn't feel like a full story. It feels like, or a full chapter of a story. It feels like it just cuts off, and we'll get the next half of it in the next issue. Because all that happens in this issue is Amanda Waller goes to Belle Reeve, collects the squad. Harley makes a joke about being not wanting to be sent into space, or is it? No, was it Croc? Who said that? Someone was it Croc? Cracked a joke about not wanting to be in space. Cut to them being in space. Okay, funny.
Yep.
That's fine. Harley Quinn makes a Pokemon reference. Fucking negative points.
I don't know why this is negative points. There's nothing wrong with that.
Harley is too crazy to be amused by such a inane.
But this is the problem. No, this is the problem with Harley is she doesn't have a set tone. There's the Connor and Palmiotti version, and now there's this.
No. The Connor and Palmiotti version would be playing Pokemon Go.
Right, but maybe not the Suicide Squad version. Right?
I mean, we haven't seen enough of this Suicide Squad version to say that they're that different. From what I read, this feels like the Connor and Palmiotti version.
Just can't see her taking time from the Connor and Palmiotti stuff with that Rebirth issue, all the millions of things that was going on.
Here's the
for her to have a bomb in her neck.
Yeah, that's a good. Here's a question: when exactly does this Suicide Squad thing take place? Because in the Harley Quinn book, going from issue 1, she owns like a club and she's got her own like supporting cast and she's doing all this stuff and she's not really been that much of a villain. Yet in Suicide Squad, she's in Belle Reve and she's got a bomb in her neck.
Well, again, it's this the other Rebirth books we're talking about. We're not sure where everything's set. I'm guessing this is a fair bit later. I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
This is why I can't care about this stuff.
Most of the time, this doesn't bother me because when it's Batman or Superman, you just assume that the arcs sort of fit around each other. But these two are so like conflicting.
Yeah.
Like because one of them kind of like says the other one can't really be happening.
All right. Here's my guess as to what has happened here. This is set after maybe 3 arcs of the new Harley stuff. At the end of one of them, she goes to prison for something, and then. Then the Suicide Squad stuff takes place, and she gets out at the end of the Suicide Squad in a couple of arcs, and then in the next Harley Quinn issue, it'll just say, "This, if you want to find out how she's back, read Suicide Squad." That's probably what'll happen.
But then will she leave Suicide Squad when it gets to that point?
I don't know. We'll see when that happens.
Anyway, I didn't dislike this. I thought this was better than the Rebirth issue. I thought some of the character interplays were fine and fun. But I really don't have much of an opinion because the story doesn't even really get started. It's just like... It
is literally the intro, isn't it?
It's like, they're going to a location, they're falling out of this thing in space because that's how they're getting there, and then that's the end.
At the same time, as an issue 1, it kind of does set up the teams together and they're getting dropped off into the mission. That's the start.
But that was also the start of the New 52 one, is you got introduced to all the characters and then they got dropped in. So that's nothing new. It's not that interesting because it feels like, oh, well, the movie's out, so let's put the movie team in a comic book. You know? Because Enchantress is there, and Flag's there, and I can't care. This is a group that I
don't even have a distaste for this. Like, I don't dislike it. Like, I'll probably read issue 2 to just see what the other half of this opening issue is, because it really is only half an issue. Yeah. I didn't dislike reading it. I thought it was written decently enough. Jim Lee, of course, does his thing. He's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And his style fits this more than, I'd say, Justice League when he was doing that.
Yeah.
So...
it's the same for me. I'm definitely going to read on because there's not enough for me to judge it on yet.
Yeah, I'll read issue 2. I will say the backup, and I'm assuming each one over the next few issues will all just focus on a different member. This one focuses on Deadshot and sort of shows his, not origin, but kind of the origin of him not being a complete villain when he decides to get Batman to help save his daughter, and still kills the bad guy, even though he knows it means Batman will put him away. Like, he does that knowing, and he accepts that Batman's going to put him away for it.
I think I like this backup more than I did the main issue.
So did I.
At least it's a complete story.
Exactly.
that is true. That helps.
I don't like the way they're doing this. Like, just let Jim Lee be a co-publisher. Stop making him draw stuff, because it's just going to be put behind.
Oh, you know what? Just make it a monthly book.
Or make it a monthly book. Like, I think after the movie kind of tanked, I think the market will right itself. I don't think there's going to be that big of a desire for Suicide Squad.
I think what will happen is we'll get this arc where Jim Lee's doing this for the first, 4-6 issues maybe?
And then he'll leave.
And I think I think he'll probably leave after that, and we'll swap to just regular issues with another artist, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even like we say.
I also don't feel any of these members are just are expendable. Like, I don't feel there's anyone that's going to go boom or anyone that's going to get taken out.
They're not really going to do that anymore, Matt, just because they want to have the big names in the team.
I know, and what's the point of calling it Suicide Squad then?
You do need some cannon fodder.
Because it's a cool name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't know. I can see Flag going, to be honest, and maybe
Enchantress could go.
Maybe Boomerang.
I can see Enchantress becoming a villain at some point, much like the movie, and then dying at the end of that arc.
Yeah. There's cool stuff out there like Secret Six that if you haven't read that, you could be reading instead of trying to read.
I will
this
give it one
Suicide
positive.
Squad.
He says one of them says we need a team of 6, right? And they pick these lot. So even if no one dies in this arc, in the next one they'll go, oh, we need a bigger team, and that's when we get some more expendable stuff brought in.
Yes, I'm not going to stick around to find out, but
Yeah, I will probably read issue 2 just to see how it develops, but I'm not particularly stoked on it.
I think it might read nicely in trade when you can actually read it.
Maybe I'll find out then.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right, so that'll take us to Connor's corner for the last book of the week. He's the only one that's going to read this, and he's going to continue reading this, and that is Harley Quinn issue 2. Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti with Chad Hardin on art. Connor, what happened in Harley Quinn this week? The last one ended, I believe, with some sort of zombie outbreak and Harley riding a rocket to somewhere.
No, it wasn't Harley riding a rocket. It was her catapulting Red Tool towards the hospital, and he'd not opening his parachute because he'd gone unconscious from the blood loss after she chopped off his arm because she thought it'd be infected.
Cool.
Remember this now?
Vaguely, aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried not to, but now, thanks.
Before I get into it, you said, he's going to continue reading it. Like, some of the other stuff I'm reading is like, it's a chore, and I'm reading it as like, I'm taking the bullet for everyone else. This, I legitimately enjoy. It's a great comic.
You're crazy.
So, no, it's great.
No, here's the thing. I don't think it's bad. It's just it's not for me. So,
no,
people out there like it, cool, but don't make me read it.
Look, I'm not going to do this obviously, because you're going to be talking about this every 2 weeks, because it's a double shipping book. I'm not going to bring this up every time. Obviously, I just don't like it, and that's fine. But Connor wasn't here last time, so I just want to, issue 1 I thought was unreadable. I struggled to get through it. I was, checking the page counts. They're always very long reads. They're the same, obviously the same length, but they're very wordy, and they do feel quite lengthy. So no, it's just not for me. So what happened this week, Connor, and anything you want to say you liked or so on?
So obviously Red Tool doesn't open his parachute, so she shoots the hospital windows from the building that they're on, so that he'll just go through the window, and then they'll reattach his arm, which, why not? And then they do some investigating into the zombies. They do some experiments, and she tries to literally go fishing for one. As in, she goes on the roof and lets down a fishing rod to try and hook one up. But instead of getting a person, she hooks into a zombified police horse, and it pulls her down into the zombies. I can see Pete wants to say something here, so go on.
This is basically a continuity anyway, so maybe my previous complaints about Suicide Squad are just gone.
It also does mention there's a radius that the zombies aren't leaving for some reason. No matter what, they're not going out of it. So it's very contained to I think it's a square mile or something like that. So it's not that big an issue anyway. And so she's running around chopping up zombies. They learn that biting doesn't get you infected. It just kills you.
That's a relief.
They either bite you so much that you die from blood loss, or you're fine. One or the other. There's no infection from the zombie stuff.
So cutting off the arm last issue was a bit of a...
Was pointless, yeah. Yeah, they're not very impressed with her for that. But then at the end is my favourite bit, because Ivy shows up with a big chainsaw thing. It's like a garden... like a big round circular blade like you use for gardening.
Yeah, I get you. Do you know what
So just mows down zombies. And
I feel like this book, more than any other DC book, feels like just pure, unadulterated fan fiction.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, this feels like the least rebirthy Rebirth book because it is literally
it's
straight carried on from the last 30.
But
like, all of the reactions and stuff.
But you liked it, I assume.
I did. And there was a bit where where the metal guy, one of her friends, he shoots a metal head, and she goes, "Oh, don't worry, you'll be in the front row watching Dio and Lemmy in Metal Heaven." Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but no, it's a lot of fun. But it is just Harley Quinn taking on zombies. I mean, there's not that much more to say. But I'm excited to see Ivy show back up because this book has been at its best when Ivy's been there.
All right, that's Harley Quinn issue 2. So that's all the books this week, which leads us to our fun times of rankings. Let's do panel of the week first.
Oh, God damn it, I forgot about that.
Oh shit!
I like to put you on the spot. Come on, let's.
No, that's alright. I know I'm going with it.
I know what I'm picking. I'm picking a really simple one. I'm a sucker for the big moments, and I feel like I mentioned it earlier. The page where it has this is a job for Supergirl, or it will be a job for Supergirl, with Kara flying out of the school in uniform. Probably because I'm just happy to have her back in a classical looking Supergirl uniform. But also just the nice roundup of the summary of events and the status quo. It all just sort of comes to a head there before the tease at the end. So, no, that's my pick for the week. Connor.
Alright, I'm actually going to go with the one from Green Arrow I mentioned earlier, the very first panel of the guy with the melted face.
Ah, nice.
And it's got the title, it just says The Inferno, and he's holding up the flame, it just says, "Don't be afraid of fire." And it just works so well.
Mm-hmm. The one that from that could have been my pick might have been them smelling at each other, Canary and Green Arrow.
Yeah, there's a lot of good panels in that book, actually.
A lot of good panels. Matt?
Lois putting on the Hellbat armor and taking it to Eradicator.
So the big punch get away from my
son.
Which, by the way, I didn't mention this at
the
the time.
Ripley moment. Yeah,
the Ripley. That's what it reminded me of. It was get away from her, you bitch. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Fun. I should have made it yellow just to make it more of a reference to that.
That would have been cool, but that's so unlike Batman unless it said like prototype on the box.
Well, it was. I mean, this was
maybe he was making it for Duke.
Yeah, exactly.
That too, for Lark. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Lark says superhero name. I keep forgetting what they're calling him.
It's because they don't use it very often.
They don't.
No.
I just keep calling him
real quick, I got confused when he called him Mr. Thomas because I forgot his last name is Thomas. So I was like, who the hell is he talking to? Oh, yeah, it's Duke.
Yeah, see, for a second I was like, wait, Thomas Wayne's alive again? What?
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so top 5s of the week. Now, I always sort of think about this after I read them on the Wednesday. And often they'll sort of shift a little bit by the time I get to recording just because, like, and this week I feel especially there's such a, like...
consistent level, isn't it?
Yeah, like, I feel like my top 5 are all so close to each other. And I feel really bad as well because I feel like there's like 6 or 7 that I think are all similar. So I'm going to feel really bad about the 1 or 2 that don't just quite make it. See, I really want to say Supergirl, but just because of the rushed sort of aspects, I'm not going to give number 1 to Supergirl. I'm going to go with, for the 3rd issue in a row, Nightwing is taking that top spot. Dick is on top once again. Dick comes first again. He really needs to get some medication to help out with that, I think.
Jeez.
Are we ever going to have an issue of this book without having all the double entendres like every time?
You love it. You love it. You wouldn't want me to stop the dick puns. You love it. You know what? See, if I get nothing but complaints from the viewers and listeners, if they complain, sure. But you two complaining, I don't give a shit. Dick puns, as far as I can see.
Guys, you know what you have to do.
Nah, they'll love it. They'll love it. They'll love every single bit of it. Okay, so Nightwing at number 1, Supergirl Rebirth at number 2. Then Superman issue 5, and then Batman issue 5, and then in 5th place, Green Arrow. It was between that and Birds of Prey, but Green Arrow cinched it. So there you go. That was my top 5. And then in bottom place, I have to go with Aquaman. So there you go. That's top 5 and bottom. Who's ready? Who's geared to go?
Just give me 1 second, and I will be.
For the audio listeners, Matt tried to point at Connor, but he pointed in the wrong direction, so it looked like he was just pointing into thin air. There you go, Connor.
Alright, I'm going to go Superman first, because it's just fantastic. I am going to go Nightwing second. Third, I'm going to go Batman. Fourth, Supergirl, because while I loved it, like I said, the plot, it was rushed. It was just an issue just to get where it needed. 5, yeah, I'll give it to Green Arrow.
Yeah, there you go.
And then lowest, I'm torn. They're both equally at the same point for me. Aquaman and Birds of Prey.
Oh, oof, no.
And they're both on the exact same level for me this week.
God, I never wanted to punch you more in my life.
Oh, God. Oh.
Matt, you didn't even read Aquaman. Shut up.
Yeah, no, but no one knew that until now.
No, I bet someone noticed. They're like, Matt's been very quiet during this Aquaman discussion. Full disclosure, he didn't drop Aquaman. He just didn't realise it came out this week.
No, because there's so much other stuff to read. I just
Basically, see, before we start the show, I just list the order we're going in for the books so that everyone knows what to have the books ready to look at if they want them. And I got to Aquaman and Matt just went, fuck! Aquaman was out this week.
It's too late to go read it.
I really want people now to go back and listen to the Aquaman section, knowing Matt didn't read it, and see if it's different now.
Next time I don't read it, I'm just gonna make stuff up, go with conversation, and yes and.
But Joe, it's funny that I wasn't paying attention, but maybe if you go back and listen to it, Matt at some point was like, "Yep,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he might have been.
Yeah,
that might have been. I totally was. Totally was.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, Superman. I thought Connor was trolling me when he said Superman showed up at the end and Pete agreed. I was like, well, they didn't know that I didn't read it until just now. So
the thing is, when we were doing Aquaman, I'd forgotten Matt hadn't read it, and I was waiting for him to say something, and it took me a while to remember. I was like, why is he not saying anything?
Yeah.
Oh dear, Matt, your top 5 then.
Yeah, so I got Superman number 1. Just a great issue, and the way it ended was pretty great.
Which, by the way, hold on. That is a 5-issue streak of Superman, never not being number 1.
Nope.
6 actually, including the Rebirth issue.
Can't do it. Just can't. It's been quality.
There's
DC.
Yeah, there's a bias here.
And there is a bias. Yeah, I mean, I love it, but it's not been every issue for me.
And Pete has a dick bias too. So
no. It was close this week.
So Nightwing's my number 2. Speaking of dick, that's been probably my second favorite book from DC since Rebirth, and then Green Arrow, which was solid. Supergirl Rebirth, and then Birds of Prey. And then because I didn't read Aquaman, I had to put that Suicide Squad down at the bottom, just because I will not be going forward with that one.
I feel like you probably would have done that even if you had read Aquaman.
Well, no, because judging from what you guys say, I'm not looking forward to reading it now. I'm going to read it probably when we're done, just to see. But now I'm definitely not looking forward to it, because I already was on the verge of it dropping every week. And I really want to like it because I want to support Aquaman, but it's been increasingly difficult since the Rebirth issue.
I think the thing is, we know Abnett can do better.
Yeah.
And he is doing better in Titans. Like, Titans is just...
Exactly.
Yeah?
Just over a couple of weeks. But... Alright, so those are your all our rankings for the week, which leaves me with one last thing to do, and that is tell you what's coming next week. We have one new book next week, and that is Blue Beetle Rebirth, issue 1.
Yes. So excited for that.
We also have, of course, Action Comics 962, Batgirl issue 2, Deathstroke issue 1, Detective Comics 939, The Flash issue 5, Titans, Speak of the Devil, issue 2, and we have Wonder Woman issue 5. We also have in Connor's Corner, the Hellblazer issue 1.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's still doing it. He kind of just did it last time by accident. But Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps issue 3 is out next week.
Let's see how it goes. Like I said, I did enjoy last issue more than the first, so I might see if it continues the trend.
Yeah, after the last time we talked about it, I went back and read it, and
really?
I agreed with what Connor said. Yeah, so maybe I might be reading that, but it's not a priority.
Oh, so that might not even be in the corner. That might actually be elevated to main bulk. Oh my!
But I'll let you guys know. It just depends on how much other stuff I have left to read.
Yeah, I get you.
I'll just do what Matt did today with Aquaman. I'll just pretend I read it and nod in agreement.
Yeah, Gorilla Grodd showing up. Great.
No, I'm glad you enjoyed it after I said it was better.
Well, it mostly had to do with them sending Gardner off into space because nobody likes him. So,
it was good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that's what's coming next week. Not quite as meaty a week, but still meaty enough. So, look forward to all that stuff. Now, of course, the week after that is the dreaded 5th Wednesday week at the end of August. There will be an episode 15 will still happen that week. We will not have any books to talk about, but there will be an episode. It'll be maybe a slightly sillier episode with more tangents and stuff. I've not told these two what we're doing for that episode yet.
I'm waiting for you to drop it now and just
ambush bug episode. No? Okay.
No, don't worry, guys. You don't have to read anything. We're not doing like a retrospective on an old thing, which we might do in the future for other things.
Right.
But I've got a thing planned. That's fine.
Does it involve waffles?
I might add them now that you've brought the idea to my attention. That's a thought.
Is it like a little Q&A, like favourite superhero snack? It's like, because like she has waffles, you got like Oreos, you like donuts.
Chocos. Not Oreos, Chocos.
All right, fine. Knock off Oreos.
Get on it.
No. Let's just say it'll be just a sort of silly, fun episode where we can have some random speaking and discussion and tangent on things. And I'm just going to design a little structure of things that lead us down a rabbit hole of conversation. All, of course, in the world of DC. And I've got a little idea for a feature at the end of every potential 5th week, even when there is some annuals to talk about, because they're always going to be a bit shorter.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, there's usually only 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, but obviously they'll always be a bit shorter. So I've got a little idea for a feature that we can always do at the end of a 5th week as well, every couple of months when it happens, because it tends to be every 3 months we get one of those. So look forward to that. That'll be a thing that happens in 2 weeks' time. But we'll get a regular episode next week with all those books, so join us for that. So that wraps up this week's episode. This has been episode 13, Baker's Dozen of Comics from the Multiverse. And you can, of course, tell us what you think of the books in the comments below on YouTube, or tweet at us at mailed_fuzz. Follow all of us individually on Twitter. You can see all those names on the screen if you're on the YouTube. If you're not on the YouTubes, then I'm at Wibble89. Matt's at MattofSteel57. Connor's at ConnorRyan94. And email us even if you want to, mailedfuzz@gmail.com. Check out all the other stuff we do on the TV channel, Mailed Fuzz. We do all the weekly TV reviews. On the movies channel, me and Matt do movie reviews on 1.21 gigawatts, and me and Tim do horror movie stuff on Screams After Midnight. So check out all that stuff if you want to. But it doesn't matter if you don't. If you just want the comic book stuff, then just come for this. That's fine. Just help the show out. Like, subscribe, 5-star review on iTunes, and whatever else people do to give good ratings to things on the internet. Share us out. That's all we want from you. So, with all that said, that's us. Any final words from you two?
No.
That's 2 weeks in a row I've asked that, and both times I've been met with deafening
just
silence.
Expect, we let you kind of just ramble your outro out, and it's like just we kind of tune out at that point.
Yeah, but I'm setting up a precedent now for this moment where I'm going to ask you two for final words. So you have an opportunity to have something prepared.
What you need to do.
You really want to give me the opportunity to have final words, because that's how bad words get said.
All you're doing here is prolonging the outro, because this is how we tangent.
That's called padding the episode, Connor.
It's not padding. The episode's long enough. I'm just giving you a chance to say Give me a sign off.
I love when Pete gets irritated. He sounds like Mr. Wick from Drew Carey. And he hits that register, and I love it.
It's so easy to get in there as well.
It is. I love it.
Thank you very much for watching and or listening, guys. It's always a pleasure. Keep reading comics, and as always, remember, never get lost in the Speed Force.
Long live the Legion.